Hi, this is Eli Kranzberg, and welcome to this series on the SCARBEE Vintage Electric Keys Bundle, which includes three instruments. The SCARBEE Mark I, which you're looking at, and is a sample set based on the original Mark I version of the Fender Rhodes piano, the 73-key version. The A200, which is a sample set of Wurlitzer electric pianos, and a clavinet and pianette instrument. Now, these are going to be challenging videos for me to do for two reasons. One, they're very simple interfaces. There's not a lot to show, which to me is a positive. It speaks to the elegant nature of the GUI and how easy it is to use. And the second thing is that these sound fantastic, but what's hard to communicate through video is they feel great to play. And I find of all keyboards, Fender Rhodes in particular, so much depends on the feel of the instrument. And when you're just laying your hands on the keys and digging in, the response that you get. So I want to start looking at the Mark I, which is a great sounding, but more importantly, great feeling Fender Rhodes emulation to play. So it's based on the 73-key 1970s version of the Rhodes, which is the first version and the real authentic start of the whole Rhodes legacy. Now, every key is sampled at 12 different velocity levels. And what's great about this instrument is that the release samples for each velocity level are sampled as well. So we get the authentic release sounds, and that gives it a lot of authenticity in sound and in feel, more importantly. Now, if you're wondering what a release sample is, in the case of the Fender Rhodes, it's the sound that's created when the damper bounces against the tine as the key is released. It's got a very distinctive sound. And as well, the SCARBEE instrument uses what's called the horizontal release technology, where release samples are chosen from a pool of samples depending on how long a key has been held down. So that means if you play a short staccato note, you're going to get a different release tone than when you play a longer sustained sound and release the key. So all these add to the realism of the sound and the feel. Now, there are two programs to choose from. We have the standard Mark I over here, which is what I've loaded in, and we have the stretched version. And with stretch tuning, two notes an octave apart are tuned slightly further apart to compensate for an acoustic phenomena where you perceive the octave as being out of tune. So they all sound and feel in tune. Now we have noise controls over here, and the default setting at 12 o'clock is the exact original level of noise on the original instrument, but it's mapped in such a way that you always get the same amount of noise, no matter if you're playing one note or 20 notes. Now we have the release noise control here, which sets the release time of the noise. So the default setting again is 12 o'clock, but if you want the noise to be present the whole time during the song, you can have this knob dialed up higher for the time it takes for it to kick in. Now we've got some simple bass and treble controls, and when it's centered, that's actually a bit of a roll-off like we had with the original instrument. And I'm just going to bring in the non-stretched version, and you'll see that it dials it all the way up by default to get full bass. We have a robust effects section, which we're going to go through. We have send effects over here, reverb and delay, and then we have insert effects, where we can choose between any combination of pan, wah, compression, chorus, distortion, phaser, and an amp. Now, to get a bit clinical, I want to give you a sense of the velocities and the release noises. I've programmed up the same note, same duration at an ascending level of velocities, and you can hear as they get louder, not only the different characteristics from the different velocities, but the release noise and characteristics. So let's start with it like this with these at 12 o'clock. So very clinical, but you get a sense of the noise. I'm going to dial this up to exaggerate it. So you really get that feel of digging into the keys and getting the response. And likewise, we can roll off some of the processing and I'll make it a bit brighter. These controls are very subtle. They're for broad strokes. I'm going to end off here, and in the next video, we'll start making some music.